In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. We are starting with that of the physical chemistry syllabus of 6th semester. Chem 506 is the code of the syllabus, and we are talking about the electrochemistry chapter. In this lecture, we will discuss about the theories of metallic conduction and electrolytic conduction, and we will talk about some difference between the metallic conduction and electrolytic conduction. We will talk about different theories of electrolytic conduction or metallic conduction, for example, electron theory of metallic conduction, valence bond theory according to band theory, or it is also called as energy band theory. We will talk about electrolytic conduction, then we would discuss about the factors affecting electrolytic conduction, and then what is the difference between the metallic conduction and electrolytic conduction. The first one theory about the metallic conduction is the simplest theory called as electron pool theory or electron gas theory. According to this theory, the outermost electrons of the metal atoms are not strongly bonded with that of the metal atom, and these are influenced by the other atoms which are near about those atoms. Whenever these electrons are influenced by the neighboring atoms, they would not become the part of only single atom, but they would become the part of whole crystal. They move from one atom to the other atom, and from there to the next one atom. So these electrons will keep on moving in the whole crystal of the metal, and these are called as mobile electrons. You may say that all the insulators have good grip on the electron, and they do not allow the electrons to wander about, just like that of the good parents. While the metals are poor parents, they do not attract the outermost electrons with much force, and their outermost electron keep on wandering neighborhood. These electrons are called as mobile electrons, and semi-free electron is the term used for these electrons. As a whole, the whole metal is a neutral because the number of electrons which have emitted will balance the charge with that of the atom. Atom would get positive charge, and the electronic charge will be neutralized by that positive charge of the atoms from which the electrons have emitted. A free electron in a metal travels approximately 0.000001 centimeter before colliding with the other particles. Thus, these free electrons remain continuous, and they remain in continuous state of motion, and their motion is on the random path. These total electrons in the whole crystal system or in the whole metal form an electronic cloud which keep on binding the atoms together. When battery is connected, this battery, positive end and negative end of the battery, is connected to the two ends of the metal wire. The negative end of the battery provides electrons to the metal wire at one end. These electrons would become the part of the whole metal system and mobile electron, and some other mobile electrons will emitted from the second end, which is a positive end. It is just like that of a drop of water which falls into a stream, and a spillway or and a wave travels that one path to the spillways. You cannot say that the path which you have pointed or which you have added, it is emitted from the spillway, or any other part is emitted, or any other drop is emitted from the spillway. Similarly, the electrons, some electrons enters from the negative end of the battery to the metal, and some electrons, the exactly same number of electrons, start emitting through the other end, and a drift velocity and a movement of electrons from the negative end of the metal towards the negative end of the towards the positive end of that metal start moving. Their velocity is called as drift velocity, and their movement is called as impulse of an electricity. travels to the end of the wire as just little less than the velocity of the light. Their velocity is nearly equal to that of the velocity of light, or you may say that it is 10 times less than that of the velocity of light. Drift motion of an individual free electron, which amounts to only a few centimeters per second. Their velocity is about few centimeters per second. This movement will be called as a drift velocity. Over a long interval of time, say 1 second, the thermal movement of the free electrons is quite uniform, but during a very short time interval, the clouds of free electrons in one part have slightly whenever you talk about a very small interval of time, it is possible that due to thermal movements, some part have greater density of electron and the other part have lower density of electron. Due to this density difference for very small interval of time, they cause noise at the amplifier or high gain at the amplifier. But whenever you talk about a long interval of time, this noise vanishes. They actually serve as a source of noise in high gain amplifiers. The so-called noise on the temperature and electrical resistance of the wire is the input end of the amplifier and on the frequency band which is being amplified. He is actually saying that this noise depend upon the temperature difference on the two ends and the temperature at the receiving end of the amplifier and frequency bands. They would cause this noise, so which is overcome over a long interval of times, which only appears for a small interval of time. The second one theory about the metallic conduction is a very simple, called as valence bond theory. According to this theory, the outermost electrons of the metal atoms make covalent bond with the nearby atom. For example, here we have an example of aluminium. Aluminium provides electron to the neighboring aluminium atoms and make covalent bonds with these, but it cannot provide the electrons to the all neighbor aluminium atoms. Some places are left behind. For example, aluminium have 3 electrons in its outermost shell. It may have covalent bond with that of the 3 atoms, but it cannot make the bond with that of the fourth one atom. So with that of the fourth one atom there will be a electron deficient space. It will be called as a hole. Because aluminium have equal opportunities to make bond with that of the neighboring atom, so the electrons keep on moving in these holes from the neighboring atom. For example, it is possible that from this pair the electron may move towards the hole. From the any one neighboring pair the electron move to the next one created hole, and the whole moves in the whole crystal. Thus movement of electron starts, and whenever the two ends of a metal are attached with that of the battery, this movement of electrons cause the conduction of the current. Electron deficient spaces holes, and the electrons moving to those holes cause the electrons to pass through the metal, and these electrons would make the metals conductor. So metals have the ability to make covalent bonds with the other metal atoms, and these covalent bonds are delocalized covalent bonds. Their electrons are mobile electrons. On connecting the metal ends with that of the battery, these electrons cause the conduction. It is called as valence bond theory of the metallic conduction. The next one theory is actually depends upon the concept of molecular orbital theory, and this is also called to be energy band theory. It says that combination of atomic orbitals give rise to closely spaced energy molecular orbitals, which are called as energy bands. These energy bands are of two types: allowed energy bands, in which the electrons are allowed to move, while there is some bands which are called as forbidden energy gaps or forbidden bands, where the electron cannot move. Band theory model successfully uses a material's band structure to explain the physical properties of the solids. Band may also be viewed as a large scale limits of molecular orbital theory. Actually, these bands are actually the molecular orbitals which are closely spaced due to much lower difference of energy, and these are formed by the atomic orbitals in molecular orbital theory. He is explaining that the several atoms of the atoms, whenever atoms come close in the metallic crystal of the order of about 10 to the power 20 atoms, they give rise to the same number of molecular orbitals, and these all number of molecular orbitals are very close in energy to each other, and these closely spaced molecular orbitals or discrete energy levels of molecular orbitals form a continuous band of energy, and these continuous bands of energy are allowed bands or forbidden bands, and these are classified, and by movement of electrons in these bands cause the materials to become conductor, insulator or semiconductor. Some intervals of the energy contains no orbitals forming band gap. This concept becomes more important in the context of the semiconductor. He says that these closely spaced atomic orbitals, when form the molecular orbitals do not have discrete energy levels, but they have continuous energies and make a continuous band. He says that there are some intervals where the electrons are not there, for which energy the electrons are not there. Electron cannot go in those intervals. Those are called as forbidden bands, and these appears in case of semiconductors and insulators. Within an energy band, energy level can be regarded as a near continuum. He says that in an energy band, the molecular orbitals do not have energy differences, but they are considered to be near continuous. And these are continuous due to these two reasons. What are the reasons? The separation between the energy levels in a solid is comparable with that of the energy of the electrons constantly exchanged with phonons. It is atomic vibration. He says that the electron take energies from the atomic vibrations, and this energy is sufficient to overcome this energy gap which is present there in the molecular orbital. So molecular orbitals are so closely attached to the each other, they have so close differences of energy, so they can be considered to be the continuous. This separation is comparable with the energy uncertainty due to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. The uncertain amount of the energy which we discussed about in the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, which says that delta P into delta X is nearly equal to constant. Similarly, delta E into delta X is nearly equal to constant. And here we says that the uncertainty in the position and uncertainty in the energy, uh, only one can be lowered down while the other would have a small value. He says that the uncertainty in energy value will fall in Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So this amount of energy will be taken by the electrons to jump in between these continuous orbitals. So these are not called to be the orbits or shells, but they can be called to be a energy band in which the electrons reside. These are the pictures which are made for the metals, semiconductors and insulators. He says that here this is called the red levels are called as valence bands, where electrons resides in metals, semiconductors and insulators, while the diagrams in blue, boxes in blue, are called to be the conduction band. He says that the conduction band in case of metals overlaps the valence band, and all the electrons of the valence band or valence shells of the metals are available in the conduction band, which are available for the conduction of electricity. In case of semiconductors, Fermi level or band gap is lower. They are insulators at ordinary temperature, but whenever temperature raises, these electrons get so much energy that they will be available in conduction band, but at the lower temperature they do not become the conductors, but they work as insulators. In case of insulators, there is a greater band gap which is called as energy gap. The electrons require a very huge amount of energy to jump into the conduction band, so insulators do not become conductors under any conditions, because their electrons will not be available in the conduction band. They will not have a sufficient high energy to become the conductor. So metals, semiconductors and insulators are different from each other just due to the width of this band gap. This band gap is zero in case of metals, because in metals conduction band and valence band overlap each other. In semiconductors it has lower value, while in case of insulators it has much higher values. In semiconductors become conductors upon heating, but they will not be conductor at the ordinary temperatures. Electrolytic conduction. The whole chapter we would discuss about in chemistry is actually the electrolytic conduction, and we were just going to make the difference between the metallic and electrolytic conduction. Electrolytic conduction is the conduction of the current through the electrolyte solutions or through the molten electrolytes due to the movement of ions. Here we use a cell in which two electrodes are there, cathode and anode. Anode have an attraction for the anions, cathode have an attraction for the cations, and electrons or electric current moves through the solution due to the movement of these ions. This type of movement will be called to be a electrolytic conduction. The conduction of the current through the electrolyte solution will be called as electrolytic conduction. These electrolytes in the solution form or in the molten form may have the ability to conduct electric current, but whenever these are in solid form they would not conduct the current at all. Some of the typical examples of the electrolytes that conduct electricity either in molten form or aqueous state are potassium nitrate, NaCl, KCl, etc. These are the solids which in the solution form or in the molten form will be conductor of electricity, but they would become insulator in solid form. The unit of conductance is taken as Siemens per meter. The reciprocal of the conductance is resistance. The unit of the resistance is taken as ohm. Ohm's law is called as a V is equal to IR, where V is a voltage, I is the current value, and R is the resistance of the material. Factors affecting the electrolytic conductance. There are three factors taken here. First one is a concentration. As the concentration of ions in the molten electrolyte or solution increases, the more number of charge carriers will be available, and if the number of charge carriers increases, the current starts moving with the better speed. So the greater will be the conductance of the electrolyte with that of the concentration. Greater the concentration, greater will be the conductance of the electrolytes. Nature of electrolytes. Electrolytes are of different natures. The electrolytes having the greater value, greater degree of dissociation are called as strong electrolytes. The strong electrolytes, whenever dissolved in the solution or whenever taken in molten form, they provide greater number of ions, so the conductance will become higher. While the weak electrolytes like acetic acid will have a small degree of dissociation, they do not give so much number of ions in the solution, so their degree of dissociation is lower and they would make the ionization lower, they would provide the lower number of ions and conductance will be lowered. Similarly, temperature is another factor which would affect the concentration of the ions as well as the conductance of the electrolytes. Usually when we increase the temperature, the solubility of the electrolytes increases, more ions will be available. As the concentration of ions increases, the current conductance will become higher. Also, the temperature lowers the viscosity. Whenever we would increase temperature, viscosity of the liquid which is molten or solution would become lower, and it starts offering low resistance in the flow of ions, which would make them better conductor. The ions would take lower time to reach the electrodes and make the materials conductor. So temperature in two ways increases the conductance of the electrolytes. It increases the solubility to make greater number of ions in the solution. It also lowers the viscosity, which would allow the ions to move with the faster rates. So temperature increase in temperature cause to increase the solubility. The difference in the metallic conduction and electrolytic conduction, it is due to the flow of electrons through the solids. Electrolytic conduction is due to the flow of ions through the electrolyte, molten electrolytes or electrolytic solutions. Metallic conduction is a physical phenomena, no chemical change take place here, while in case of electrolytic conduction there is always involved a chemical change. In metallic conduction, matter does not move, only electrons passes from one end to the other end, while in case of electrolytic conduction, matter moves or transferred from one electrode to the other or from solution to any of the electrode. Increase in temperature cause the movement of the electron to become lower in metals, metallic conduction. Actually, in metallic conduction, increase in temperature cause the resistance to increase, while in case of electrolytic conduction, increase in temperature increases the conduction, decreases resistance. Vibrating kernels causes resistance. What are vibrating kernels? The atom in the metal and that of the electron in the metal, they cause the resistance, they collide with that of the electrons moving through the metals. Ionic interaction or viscosity of the liquid cause resistance. Whenever the viscosity will be higher, the resistance will be higher. Similarly, if ions interact with each other, they would increase the resistance and decrease the conduction. Examples of metallic conduction is the conduction through the metals or graphite, etc. While electrolytic conduction is the conduction through the acid solutions, basis solutions, molten salts or salt solutions, etc. These are some questions which the students should be able to answer about this lecture. Thank you students. Allah Hafiz.